Economist Paul Alaje joins me now for more. Good to see you and thanks for your time. It looks like there's a new word in our lexicon now. Perhaps you should be able to help us make sense of that. But again, looking at the president's approval for the Federation dividends to settle the petrol subsidy, is that indicative of a return of subsidy or shortfall?
Yeah, thank you so very much for having me. I must say that this is not the first time there's been an attempt to change the name of subsidy. For me, I think those in authority might just have to check dictionary to understand that when you talk about subsidy, you are referring to an allowance provided by the government or the public sector to allow the price of a commodity to remain low or to give gap for people to afford it or for competitiveness. So when you call it shortfall, based on the example that is cited on your screen, is simply talking about subsidy. So subsidy have different name. You might call it fund, you might call it aid, you might call it support, you might call it grant, you might call it all manner of names. So what is important is the functionality of the purpose. So here is it. We are supposed to buy PMS averagely between 1,050 naira to 1,200. So government, depending on the cost, the time, and so on, and variation that is in between, government is saying sell at certain price. So that certain price is the original price minus the price we're buying, forms what you call under recovery, what you call shortfall, because NNPC at the time used the word shortfall. You know, we have heard under recovery and we have heard subsidy. The truth is that government is making some kind of payment. Recall that the former administration, I said there was no subsidy. In fact, according to the report you just played tonight, 8 years ago, there was no subsidy. But when President Tinubu got to office, 29th of May 2023, the popular clause, subsidy is gone. Does it mean that the president was talking about something else when he said subsidy is gone? Because according to the report from NNPC that you just played on your screen, it said we have not paid anybody subsidy. Then what was the president referring to just last year when he said subsidy is gone? Clearly, there is subsidy, clearly. And when you look at the cable's report of how much we were paying in subsidy and how much we are paying now, recall I told you people bear different name. Some people's name is Peter. The same person is Lawal. The same person is Kola. The same person is Chinedu. He has different name. You see, when you still call the person, he knows you are referring to him. So in this case, we are talking of government under recovery. We are talking of government shortfall. We are talking of government subsidy government is paying. So does it now make sense to majority of viewers around the world that is looking at Nigeria's economy? Here we say subsidy is gone, and in fact, we have to pay more. I've cited this over and over again, especially on your program, this news night and many other screen around the country and even international screen, that you cannot, for a developing nation, on one hand, remove subsidy of very critical commodity, at the same time float your currency. Now, what is happening is that flotation is having impact on everything that we do, especially commodity that we consume, from PMS, which is largely imported into Nigeria, to name it, even drugs, price of drugs and so on and so forth, has since increased. What Nigeria feel the most is that when they buy at filling station, the price is increasing. Just today in Lagos, in one of the filling stations around Agege, 880 naira, that's the price of PMS per liter. Here in Abuja, very close to your studio in Wusetu, one of the filling stations on Aminu Kano sold at 910 naira per liter. Meanwhile, we hear that the government is doing under recovery so that the price will remain competitive. Why are we buying at high prices? I don't want to talk about those who are carrying jerry cans all along Glittered Street, all over.
So Paul, what are we dealing with now at the moment? It looks like an issue of transparency and accountability, because if you look at this statement, on the one hand, if talking about floating of the naira, at least now we have some dividend somewhere. So asking that that dividend be used to offset the subsidy is indicative.
I don't even think the dividend is there in the first instance.
It's indicative that there is subsidy in the first place.
Of course, but I don't even think the dividend is there. So there is no way such payment would not have been made. 2.1 billion. I've heard in so many print media and online media that that's the largest revenue that NNPC have made. I completely disagree with that. When you talk in Naira terms or nominal terms, yes, but you don't talk about Naira in absolutism. You have to talk about Naira relative to what it was last year. And that is why the course of economy is a bit different from accounting. I respect accounting as a course. I respect accounting as a program. Accountants are doing really great. But we seem to have variation because I first have I've studied in the area of accounting and finance, but I'm also, mainly an economist. So the accountants, sometimes we don't pay attention into the real time, the value of money. We just look at the nominal numbers. But as economists, we pay attention to the real value. What does that mean? What was the value of Naira this time last year? What was the value of Naira in 2023 compared to 2022? And I can tell you that when you compare those numbers, as a matter of fact, we made less revenue than what we made in previous year. And if you compare that to what it was in 2021, I can tell you that this might even be a loss because when the oil business is done in hard currency, predominantly hard currency, sales of crude, sales of petrol gas, import of PMS into Nigeria in different parastate areas where NNPCL operates. So even the maintenance of refineries and the turnaround maintenance of refineries, most of those equipment cost a lot of money. So when you talk about 3.3 trillion naira, that sounds humongous. But in the real sense, you are talking about 2.1 billion $2.1 billion. That's just being charitable. So it's not as huge as we thought it was. But these monies already, some of which we have used to service some of these under recoveries and so on and so forth. That we are talking about here. So on paper, yes, we have the money, but the question is, are we going to have that money shared among the three tiers of government? And because we cannot do that, honestly, there is need for recommendations to three tiers of government so that in the coming period, we can have a better posture.
Before we talk about the posture, let's go back to, we backtracked to over a year ago, subsidies gone, and now here we are. Are there reasons for the continued subsidy payments?
Yeah, there are reasons. There are reasons why we need to have a subsidy. And I must say that subsidy may be good or bad depending on how you look at it. Different countries pay one form of subsidy or the other. I remember many years back when I was in the School of Economics, we had a presentation and I saw some of my colleagues said, oh, we shouldn't pay subsidy, we should pay subsidy. And then doctor who taught in class asked us to go and study about Cancun talks. And for the first time, we looked at Cancun of 2000 and we saw that America is actually paying subsidy on cotton farms. And that was a bit revealing to some of us. And we started looking at other economies. While, some of the representatives from Europe were discussing with African representatives that you cannot keep subsidizing your market. It's not competitive to us. But Africans also ask questions, but you are subsidizing your cotton farms. It's not also competitive to us. So if you want us to remove subsidy across board, it has to be all over the world. In China, there is a form of subsidy. In America, there is a form of subsidy. And different parts of the world. The question is, what is the driver of this economy? This economy is not producing, is not productive enough, is not exporting enough. People have to consume. We have a lot of small businesses that rely on running barbing business, hairdressing salons, organizer. All of them, majority of them depend on PMS. Now, to drive price, PMS is very important. So because they are small scale businesses, how do we now remove subsidy on one hand and on the second hand devalue the currency? And I've said time and again that when you do these two, you are acting like a medical doctor who feels that because 21 tablets will heal you, you can take everything
let's do a quick one before you go. Are there alternative strategies to petrol pricing?
I think there are quite a number of them. First of all, if you peg Naira today to 1,000 Naira, forget it. Price of PMS will come down to 400 to about 500. Now, the challenge is, are we going to make a decision to peg? I'm not saying to fix like we had in the old regime. They are not the same thing. A lot of persons have said, yeah, I know literature will say they can be used alternative, as one for the other, like synonyms. No, but that's not very correct, So what I meant by that is Nigeria, we need to become more deliberate in making decisions. We are not the only country, first country. Some countries in the Middle East have actually pegged their currency, irrespective of what is happening. When you do that, our real challenge is with flotation. We cannot flow when we are not productive enough. We cannot flow when we are not exporting enough. We are saying that let us continue to allow this free fall to go on. Remember when we floated, it was around 800, 700. Today, it's about 1,500. It was 1,600. So for me, we need to look at different mechanisms. And the real solution will be to have local refinery work, preferably public-private partnership refinery. If it is local refinery that Dangote build, that we're going to support, fine. If not, we need to work on something to make it work.
Alaje, always a delight speaking with you here on Newsline. Many thanks for your time.
Thank you so much.